How important is it for you guys to have a good showing tomorrow night and kind of keep this season going and sort of?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just another basketball game.
Super important. I think
it has that player feel to it, like the added intensity.
Up and down.
But yeah, like I said, it's just another basketball game.
Stay in the postseason.
Just gotta approach it like we do every other game, and
just attack it with positive mindset and go out there, play basketball, and give ourselves the best chances.
Rich, you said you're earlier talking about how the game changes a bit and the hits are a little bit harder and the whistle doesn't come in often.
I mean, it's a mindset. I'd say you just gotta figure it out for yourself, whatever you have to do to get yourself 100% ready for that game.
I think which for me is like, I feel like I'm kind of used to that.
I'd say it's pretty individual. It's hard to generalize.
What it's really like, so I kind of like just condition myself to go out there and not expect anything and finish strong through hits and we know that it's going to be a physical game
like, whatever it takes to win that game, I guess. Like for some guys, they're just gonna stick to their routine. Like maybe like other guys like hype themselves up a little extra. I don't know what you might do. For me, I approach it like every other game. Obviously, like we're extra locked in on personnel, we're extra locked in on like their plays and stuff. Like there's extra scouting to it. So for me personally, I'm gonna look at my matchups a little closer as well, try and get their tendencies down and stuff like that. But yeah, I more or less stick to my routine and.
Does it feel more like a game 83 in terms of prep work, 83 or game 7 or game 1 of the playoffs?
Another game, important game, we have to win, so that's the mindset.
You would have had a lot of time going up against DeMar in practice in those first few years as a member of the bench mob. Given how gifted he is offensively, how much did he?
It's tough. It's just, I mean, the biggest adjustment for me was probably just the defensive style. Going from like more passive and like safe, like trying to not to foul and stuff, to extra aggressive. And I think over time, I just kind of, like I've said this before, I kind of found my balance, like something that works for me. That's on the more aggressive side. That fits with the play style of the team. Other than that, it's just about building chemistry, like figuring out,
similarities between yourself
the small details. Because I mean, everybody can play basketball together. Like we've played together before. Like with most of those guys, like that stuff comes very quickly. The small details, like when to throw one pass and stuff like that you figure out over time.
You know, I kind of like always told him like I want to go work out with you in the summer this way, mayonnaise and stuff. But it's crazy. Like what is it? What do you do? And you know, if you're a player out there and you want to. I
mean, for me, I think I more or less adjust my team to whatever my game to whatever is available and needed out there on the court. So in San Antonio, I was creating a lot more. I was even playing one-on-one in the post a lot more, stuff like that. Here, the pick and roll is picked up again. I'd say, and trying to create for myself or for teammates out of the pick and roll.
Like I said,
and
we have different lineups out
like
there.
I guess the spacing, because we do have a lot of situations where we end up in isolation. So like finding the right spacing, finding the right time to like play off of my teammates.
Just play the way we play.
So I don't think I'd like necessarily added anything. It's just more about readjusting what I do out there on the court.
He's done that has made your life easier. That you really kind of appreciate having him.
Yeah. I think obviously like his screening is great, like kind of like getting you open. I think that's one good thing, and then like I think I probably scored the most like off the ball. Like
I can't remember the exact details of that game.
Cuts and things like that.
Personally,
like,
I felt pretty good in that game.
A little variety on like how to score, like
obviously like there's been improvements in like my adjustment to the team, like my comfort level, I guess you could say. And just having experience playing against Chicago within our system has helped already. So like now, sometimes when we play teams differently here than I'm used to, like than I used to with San Antonio. So then like a different like tactical scheme might be like throwing me off a little bit, especially like earlier in the game. So it's definitely helpful that I've played in
and
Chicago
I feel like,
already
you know, like,
with this team, like with
especially those like guys
the
that,
way
like,
we play
smaller
them
than
or
me,
we
like,
want
you
to
know,
play
like,
them.
but he's strong.
I
like,
think
he
that's
can
going to help.
kind of hold his own, and yeah, it's always going to be tough. But I do feel like, you know, it's just going to depend on also like, you know, what the help's coming from and those type of things like. But yeah, I think he's, you know,
I think
there
in
are
my
a variety of
experience,
people that can guard and,
the biggest
you know,
adjustment
they
he
can
made,
do
or like the
the
improvements he
so-
made, was just from a playmaking ability.
There's
Because
a lot
when he
of
was here, it was
things
really
that
like
Patrick definitely does to, like,
Kyle Lowry running the show, and he was. I mean, he was a ISO scorer
Oh,
for
yeah?
us. Like he was scoring. I mean, he was still dishing out the ball, but like it went to a whole new level when we went to San Antonio because. Yeah, he was handling the ball a lot more in pick and rolls and stuff like that. Like not only for his own shot, but like trying to create for myself or other teammates. So I think that's something that's really stood out to me when we played together in San Antonio.
Give everything and they want to do everything that they can, you know, to win the game and really sometimes don't care about the offense or this or that. Like they just want to do everything that they can to help the team win. And you know, I think it's great. Like I think he's a good guy. Like yeah. Like, every time we play, it's always fun.
I mean, it definitely helps. Like I'm not matched up with DeMar too often. Obviously, like there's pick and roll situations. But I mean, what you learn from playing against guys like that, like you gotta stay focused 100% of the time, because as soon as you start like lacking or one wrong move, he'll catch you. Like he'll get you a foul, or like he'll drive past you, like he'll pull up for a jump shot. So you got to be dialed in at all times. So I think stuff like that is definitely like when you play against elite scorers like that.
What do you think makes DeMar's pump fake so effective? I'm sure you've seen it work 1,000 times.
Well, I think it's the timing of it. Like the pump fake's most effective when you get a defender out of position first, because then he feels like he needs to catch up with you, and then might oversell on a shot contest or something. And so that's really how you get people, is when you make them feel like they need to catch up to you, and he does a good job with that, with like changing up his rhythm. And then also like he might pump fake you 2-3 times. You can stay down, and like he'll still like kind of like a weird rhythm shot, like that's probably not easy for a lot of people. For him, it's very effective. So like you might think you're taking him out of his rhythm because you made a pump fake 3 times, but he'll still knock that shot down. So that definitely helps too.
Thank you.
Pascal, how important is it for you guys to have a good showing tomorrow night and kind of keep this season going and sort of kind of finish it on positive notes, however far it goes?
Yeah, super important. I think obviously just going out there, season up and down, having a great opportunity, play some basketball, stay in the postseason. I think, you know, just attack it with positive mindset and go out there, play basketball, and give ourselves the best chances.
Rick was sitting here earlier talking about how the game changes a bit and the hits are a little bit harder and the whistle doesn't come as often. How do you adapt to that from one regular season game to a game? It will be called differently probably tomorrow night.
Right. I think which for me is like, I feel like I'm kind of used to that. Like I don't ever know what it's really like. So I kind of like just condition myself to go out there and not expect anything and finish strong through hits and we know that it's going to be a physical game and like you said, maybe the whistle will be a little different, but I don't think it's anything new really.
You do seem to have a size advantage though, with like you and Scotty and OG, to punish those guys going to the basket and after them. Is that in your mindset going into the game?
I think it's always been for us like just exploiting the matchups that we have, and whenever we feel like we have an advantage, we're always good at that. And I think it just depends on who's out there on the floor for them and for us. Like we always gonna try to take advantage of the mismatches and things like that. So yeah.
Does it feel more like a game 83 in terms of prep work, 83 or game 7 or game 1 of the playoffs?
Another game, important game. We have to win. So that's the mindset.
You would have had a lot of time going up against DeMar in practice in those first few years as a member of the bench mob. Given how gifted he is offensively, how much did he kind of help you in the early stages of development as a player?
Oh, I mean, I think for me, I just always like watching him. Like, he just like just his work first, and then like just on the floor, like the things that he's able to do, like mid range, like get to spots. You know, kind of like manipulate the defense, like and yeah, those things has always been good, and he's always been a tough coverage, and I definitely learned a lot from him.
With the way you've evolved your mid-range game, do you see any similarities between yourself and DeMar now?
I mean, I don't know. I can't really tell you. But I know that, you know, like watching him, like it's like, you know, like he does it so effortlessly and like just so it seems so easy. Like, and you know, I kind of like always told him like yeah, like I want to go work out with you in the summer just for your mid range and stuff. But it's crazy like what he's able to do, and you know, if you're a player out there and you want to, you know, like look at someone that masters something, like he's one of those guys. Like, so you definitely look at that and try to emulate it like the best that you can. But like he's special. So
How do you feel like you guys match up when Yak's off the court with the second unit against Chicago's size?
I don't know. I think yeah, I don't know. I think we just, you know, like I said, we have different lineups out there. Sometimes I don't really know what the lineup's gonna be, and you know if Jakob is in or not. Like I feel like, you know, we just play it the way we play.
Playing with Jakob since the All-Star break, let's say, what's one or two things he's done that has made your life easier, that you really kind of appreciate having him alongside with him?
I think obviously like his screening is great, like kind of getting you open. I think that's one good thing. And then like I think I probably scored the most like off the ball, like with him, you know, just like being out there and like making the passes, like cuts and things like that. Like I think, you know, just kind of like give me like a little bit more like another variety on like how to score. Like, you know, instead of having the ball all the time, you can pass it to him and make a read, and he's able to make that pass. So yeah, if I have to name two.
I guess you don't have to cover centers anymore.
Yeah, which is a big help. Like, yeah, I like that a lot.
Chicago has thrown different looks at you, but they've often started with like Caruso on you. What would you find challenging about him as a defender, and what do you find as the keys to your success against him?
I think he's a good defender, and I feel like, you know, like especially those like guys that are like smaller than me and like, you know, like he's strong, like he can kind of hold his own, and yeah, it's always going to be a tough. But I do feel like, you know, it's just going to depend on also like, you know, what the help is coming from and those type of things like. But yeah, I think he's, you know, I think there are varieties of people that can guard, and you know, they've done a lot of different things, so it should be interesting and fun.
There's a lot of things that Patrick Beverley does to like try and throw people off their game. You guys have had back and forth before as well.
Oh, we have?
You know, how do you kind of embrace that and not get thrown off?
Yeah, nah, he's like, I think he's just like that's his game. Like I think more I like it. I mean, I don't mind it. Like I just think that, you know, like that's what he does, and he always has that energy, and you know, you like to play against those type of guys that you know, give everything and they want to do everything that they can, you know, to win the game, and really sometimes don't care about the offense or this or that. Like they just want to do everything that they can to help the team win, and you know, I think it's great. Like I think he's a good guy. Like I don't know, yeah. Every time we play, it's always fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
You guys are 15-10 with Yak as a starter.
Yep.
Obviously, he brings a little bit of everything to the way we see him play. But is there one little aspect that he's really unlocked? Maybe it's in passing or his ability to, you know, versatility provide defensively. Is there something that's really?
Yeah, I mean, I think his strength, you know, his overall strength is that he does a little bit of everything, right? I really do. But I've said this before a few times, is that I really feel like the defensive rebounding has probably been his biggest impact. I don't really know how that has related numbers-wise. You guys probably do, but I don't. But it just feels like there's a lot more where we're not just totally like 5 guys scrapping like, heck to try to come up with a board where he's just grabbing it, and he's pretty good about getting rid of it pretty quick too, and getting it up the floor. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've felt if I have to pick one. That you asked me, is there one thing? That'd probably be the biggest one I pick. Yeah.
He's also, I think, the only guy on the team who's been through this, through playing games. What do you expect him to be able to handle the moment? Is that because he's been through it before?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's one of the things is that, he has a game that travels pretty well no matter what, right? I mean, he does so many little things that he's gonna probably have a good game, whether he gets, 3 shot attempts or 9 shot attempts or goes 7 for 9 or whatever. I think he's gonna impact it pretty well. But, I mean, I also think, that being through that, and some of our other guys that have been in playoffs before understand the level of intensity does jump up, right? And you gotta understand that, and I think we'll be ready for that, hopefully.
He doesn't seem to have the physical body of a big NBA center, but can he keep Drummond off the glass because he's a great offensive rebounder?
I don't know about that one. I mean, listen, Drummond's like a super unique guy, right? That he just he needs more than one person, no matter how big the guy is. Usually, I don't know. I guess he's just a guy that you have to game plan a little bit for with Drummond. You got to not get too far off his body. If you're going to help and stuff like that, if shots are going up, and you got to move, but you also probably need some help from the back side too, like a sandwich, right?
The Bulls start 4 guards typically. What are some ways you can look to attack that?
Well, I think that we do have some guys that can take it to the rim. That's one. We got some guys that can post. That'd be another. We got some chances at the offensive glass as well. Right, and we just got to make sure we're back and keeping them in front of us and all that stuff at the other end. That's always a give and take of it, and I don't know. We've got to get to the front of the rim. We got to finish with physicality. I don't think, again, Doug already mentioned the differences. I think you're not going to get every little touch foul going to the basket in the playoffs is like normal. You're going to get a lot more body on the perimeter and a little bit more hand checking and things like that. So making sure we play through that and still score will be important.
The Bulls also, Billy Donovan talked about potentially going a little bit bigger in the starting group, putting Patrick Williams in the starting 5. Does that change anything for you in terms of the approach, or what do you kind of do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably does a little bit, but nothing too big. I think, you're going to see the one thing that they can do is play bigger. They've got Vucevic and Drummond, right? They got Williams, and then the other thing they can do is play really small, which they like to do. Like they like to play or start fourth quarters and sometimes even end games with a totally switchable all 5 guys, guards and wings out there. So got to be ready for it all.
Has Pascal gotten better this year at taking those hits and going to the rim?
Yeah, I think for the most part. I think there was probably a stretch during the season that he maybe didn't play through those as well. But I think he's done pretty good here the last 30 games or so, Doug. Yeah.
I think the last time you guys played the Bulls at the end of Feb, you ended up closing without obviously that was the
Yep.
situation for that game. And Scotty was playing the 5. What do you like about Scotty specifically in that matchup with Vucevic?
Well, I don't really remember if Vucevic was in there or not. Do you?
Yeah.
He was in there? Yeah, I guess it was probably that enabled us to switch the mid-ball screen. That's usually what we're doing there with that when Scotty's playing the 5 and he's capable of switching, and we got a big kind of two bigger bodies guarding the ball handler and the 5, but they're also agile enough to guard the ball handler, and then whoever gets switched onto the 5, they're big and strong enough to not just get buried in the paint.
And, you know, you mentioned yesterday about with DeMar, so much of the work having to be done before he gets the ball. How important is it as well, to attack him defensively and make him work on that end?
Well, yeah, I think it's important. I think it's always important for scorers. I put Levine in there too, their top 2 scorers, that we've got to make sure we're making them work a little bit at the other end. And, and that's always a little tricky because you're trying to, you're maybe having to adjust your sets a little bit and things like that. Which you got to do, but it's not like just it's not like it's just, oh yeah, sure, we just automatically flow into that. You got to take a look, and you got to see where it is and see where to move pieces and things like that and try to get this stuff. So it is important. I mean, we're gonna have to run some good next action offense tomorrow. This team's playing very well defensively. They do a lot of switching. We can't let the switching. They switch so they can keep the ball in front, and we got to keep getting it into our next actions and have good offensive possessions.
Why do you think they've been so effective at forcing turnovers, but also having like a very low foul rate?
They're just playing good defense. I mean, they've just upped their intensity. I think they've upped their ball pressure. I think they've just, looks like to me, they've just stayed with a lot of principles and continued to work at them. I think they added Beverly, who's kind of a defensive mindset guy that's rubbed off, I think, a little bit. They've played Derek Jones some, who's a really good defender. But I just think their foundation stuff has gotten a lot more solid.
You guys struggled last time you played Chicago when Yak came off the floor and you guys went to the bench. Where's your confidence level with some of those guys right now, and how do you ensure that you don't tweet out when you go to the bench in this game?
My confidence level's really high with them. They'll be just fine.
Thank you.
All right.